Values by Kahlil Gibran. Once a man unearthed in his field a marble statue of great beauty, and he took it to a collector who loved all beautiful things and offered it to him for sale, and the collector bought it for a large price, and they parted. And as the man walked home with his money, he thought and he said to himself, "How much life this money means! How can anyone give all this for a dead carved stone, buried and undreamed of in the earth for 1,000 years?" And now the collector was looking at his statue, and he was thinking, and he said to himself, "What beauty! What life! The dream of what a soul! And fresh with the sweet sleep of 1,000 years. How can anyone give all this for money, dead and dreamless?" The New Pleasure by Kahlil Gibran. Last night I invented a new pleasure, and as I was giving it the first trial, an angel and devil came rushing towards my house. They met at my door and fought with each other over my newly created pleasure. The one crying, "It's a sin!" The other, "It's a virtue." Faces by Kahlil Gibran. I have seen a face with 1,000 countenances, and a face that was but a single countenance, as if held in a mold. I have seen a face whose sheen I could look through to the ugliness beneath, and a face whose sheen I had to lift to see how beautiful it was. I have seen an old face much lined with nothing, and a smooth face in which all things were graven. I know faces because I look through the fabric my own eye weaves, and behold the reality beneath. The Plutocrat by Kahlil Gibran. In my wanderings, I once saw upon an island a man-headed, iron-hooved monster who ate of the earth and drank of the sea incessantly. And for a long while I watched him. Then I approached him and said, "Have you never enough? Is your hunger never satisfied and your thirst never quenched?" And he answered, saying, "Yes, I am satisfied. Nay, I am weary of eating and drinking. But I am afraid that tomorrow there will be no more earth to eat and no more sea to drink." Said a blade of grass by Kahlil Gibran. Said a blade of grass to an autumn leaf, "You make such a noise falling, you scatter all my winter dreams." Said the leaf, indignant, "Low-born and low-dwelling, songless, peevish thing, you live not in the upper air, and you cannot tell the sound of singing." Then the autumn leaf lay down upon the earth and slept, and when spring came she waked again, and she was a blade of grass. And when it was autumn, and her winter sleep was upon her, and above her through all the air the leaves were falling, she muttered to herself, "Oh, these autumn leaves, they make such noise. They scatter all my winter dreams." War by Kahlil Gibran. One night a feast was held in the palace, and there came a man and prostrated himself before the king, and all the feasters looked upon him, and they saw that one of his eyes was out, and that the empty socket bled. And the prince inquired of him, "What has befallen you?" And the man replied, "O prince, I am by profession a thief, and this night, because there was no moon, I went to rob the money changer's shop, and as I climbed in through the window, I made a mistake and entered the weaver's shop, and in the dark I ran into the weaver's loom, and my eye was plucked out. And now, O prince, I ask for justice upon the weaver." Then the prince sent for the weaver, and he came, and it was decreed that one of his eyes should be plucked out. "O prince," said the weaver, "the decree is just. It is right that one of my eyes should be taken, and yet, alas, both are necessary to me in order that I may see the two sides of the cloth that I weave. But I have a neighbor, a cobbler, who has also two eyes, and in his trade both eyes are not necessary." Then the prince sent for the cobbler, and he came, and they took out one of the cobbler's two eyes, and justice was satisfied. The Sleepwalkers by Kahlil Gibran. In the town where I was born lived a woman and her daughter, who walked in their sleep. One night, while silence enfolded the world, the woman and her daughter, walking, yet asleep, met in their mist-veiled garden. And the mother spoke, and she said, at last, my enemy, you by whom my youth was destroyed, who have built up your life upon the ruins of mine, would I could kill you." And the daughter spoke, and she said, "O hateful woman, selfish and old, who stand between my freer self and me, who would have my life an echo of your own fated life, would you were dead." At that moment a cock crew, and both women awoke. The mother said gently, "Is that you, darling?" And the daughter answered gently, "Yes, dear." The King of Eros by Kahlil Gibran. Once the elders of the city of Eros presented themselves before the king, and besought of him a decree to forbid to men all wine and all intoxicants within their city. And the king turned his back upon them and went out from them laughing. Then the elders departed in dismay. At the door of the palace they met the Lord Chamberlain, and the Lord Chamberlain observed that they were troubled, and he understood their case. And then he said, "Pity my friends, had you found the king drunk, surely he would have granted you your petition." Said a sheet of snow-white paper by Kahlil Gibran. Said a sheet of snow-white paper, "Pure was I created, and pure will I remain forever. I would rather be burnt and turn to white ashes than suffer darkness to touch me or the unclean to come near me." The ink bottle heard what the paper was saying, and it laughed in its dark heart, but it never dared to approach her. And the multicolored pencils heard her also, and they too never came near her. And the snow-white sheet of paper did remain pure and chaste forever. Pure and chaste and empty. I am alive like you, and I am standing beside you. Close your eyes and look around. you will see me in front of you.